Okay, so the Democratic National Convention is underway, and we already have seen some really crazy things. And first and foremost, it was Biden's speech. You know that he didn't stay for whatever was next. You know that he has to be really angry at the fact that he was removed by his own party. In his own words, he acknowledges, already said on other interviews that, well, he had to step aside, and was not like a decision that he made himself. It was for the interests of the party, and now they have Kamala Harris, and that is supposed to be better. But the speech has a bit of inconsistencies, plain hoax being repeated again and again. And we're going to take a look at that, and we'll see that it's a good thing. And you have to see the silver linings. It's a good thing that we are not going to have 4 more years of this. And the first thing is this first clip.
Women are not without electoral.
You know, one of the things that I will not miss about Joe Biden is the fact that it is so hard to understand sometimes. And even my captioning service, which is it's fueled by AI, has trouble understanding what is he saying. And you can see that moment when he raises his eyebrows this way. He's trying to make sense of what he just said. It was that women without electrical or electoral, he does that really quick raising of the eyebrows, like, oh my God, where am I? And this is something that I want to point out, that I saw not only when he was giving the speech, but before getting on stage. He was absolutely lost. I mean, this is the face that he had right before going on stage. And I think it's sad by this point. We know that it is really sad to see this guy trying to connect 2 sentences together, let alone lead the free world, or the most powerful country in the free world. But that's about to end. What is going to happen? Would we have Trump or President Harris? We don't know. We don't know yet. Let's continue watching.
Border encounters have dropped over 50%. In fact, there are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office.
Well, that one, I am not too sure. You know that the border crisis has been one of my favorite topics to talk about because, in many ways, I know how my friends, both in USA, in Canada, and UK, are literally under this threat. One country is more than others. Maybe the UK is really hot right now on that topic. And even if you're in the UK, you cannot talk about that topic because you can get thrown in jail just by a tweet or a Facebook post. And we know that has been a problem in the United States, that Kamala Harris was named border czar on March 2021. And, well, that didn't work out very well. So the claim that there are fewer border crossings than when Donald Trump left office, that is simply not true. And we know that the measures that Democrats, there's a document that is in the Democrats' website that still has reference to Joe Biden's second term. They haven't even updated that. It is heavy, not in really closing the border, but in speeding up the entering of the processing of migrants to the United States. So that is a bit concerning in many ways. I already made a video on how governments use illegal immigration to control you. So go on, make sure you watch it later. So let's keep playing this to see what else he says. There comes a hoax now.
Happened. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides." My God. That's what he said.
Yeah, I also made a video about how the very fine people is a hoax. It's a lie, was crafted from a single sentence that Donald Trump said, and was part of a 4-minute it was a press conference, a 4-minute press conference, in which you get the whole meaning of what he was saying, and he was condemning these white supremacists that were causing chaos and caused the death of a woman. And this has been a lie that has been repeated over and over again, because it seems that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Democrats cannot win without repeating things that even the liberal media has already proven that it's a lie, that never happened, that Donald Trump did not call these people very fine people. So I think that that's all that they can do to, well, remain in the race. Or it's a bit sad that in his last speech, you could say that this is Joe Biden's last speech, he's just using that to perpetuate lies. He could have said, maybe he could have spoken against the Democrat Party for throwing him aside like an old rug, which is sad in itself. I'm not gonna lie, that is sad.
That is what he said and what he meant. Oh, from his own chief of staff, the 4-star General John Kelly, that Trump, when in Europe, would not go to the grave sites in France. The brave service members who gave their lives to this country. He called them suckers and losers. Who in the hell does he think he is?
Again, this is another hoax taken out of context. You can check it if you want. Maybe I could do a video about it as well. But this is the kind of things that I would like the Democrats to have an actual plan, to have an actual, it is not that, oh yeah, Trump is the Antichrist. Okay, I understand you don't like Donald Trump. That is absolutely clear. But it is all that you've got. It is all that, that the hope that you want to bring to people. This is a way that you want to inspire your voters. I guess that's the way to go, no? Right? And the free abortions and the free vasectomies that you have out there, well, I guess that's part of their target audience. He also says another thing here, by the way. He screams this sentence a second time.
Who does he think he is? They're the ones we're going to bring back.
In this moments when he gets really intense, I'm gonna say it. I miss those speeches, those 2016 speeches by Joe Biden. The speech that he gave at the Democratic National Convention in 2016 was, I can say, very good. That was when he screamed this word, malarkey. That was really powerful. And I used to make these comparisons between Biden 2016 and whatever was Biden right now or last year. It's night and day. And you see that even if he wants to, well, go all gung-ho and this and screaming and trying to, move the public with his shouting, this is still like this this empty stare that is emotionless. And you see that he's reading the teleprompter. Maybe the teleprompter has the annotations like you have to scream and pump your fist in the air. That's a thing. You can include hand gestures in the teleprompter as screenplay and the script. So the one who is reading reminds you, well, do all the correct gesturing. But no, this is just an empty vessel by now. And again, I know that one part of him must be frustrated of not being able to run a second time. I know that he deep down inside himself, he thinks that he could have ran for this second term because, well, according to every poll, he was the greatest president of the United States ever. And if he did so well, why couldn't do this a second time? It's a mystery to me. And according to himself, and even Kamala Harris, he was perfectly fine, and he did okay-ish at that debate with Donald Trump. But again, maybe I'm too new in this politics stuff, and I don't understand the lingo when they say something is good. Maybe they mean that something is bad. Maybe Democrats speak in backwards terms. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason I don't understand any of this.
That's not hyperbole. It's because Medicare no longer has to pay those exorbitant prices to the big pharma.
You see that he got lost for a minute right there. For a second, he got, what am I saying? Does this make sense? And it happens, has happened to me when I used to have scripts. I have a teleprompter. I used to make videos with scripts. And maybe I misread a word and then I correct myself on the fly, or I record again. He doesn't have the luxury of like getting the teleprompter back, getting the script rewinded. So he has to improvise, but correcting and improvising takes, well, certain mental awareness, mental acuity, especially in moments like that. The thing is that our brain usually has the ability to be able to, if you're in front of an audience, your brain is gonna work faster because it knows, it is aware that you cannot make a mistake. Of course, practice is important, and if you have a stage fright, it's gonna be a bit more difficult. When you overcome that stage fright, you're gonna be nervous still. Your brain is gonna be revving up, and most probably, if you make a mistake, it will be easier to correct it. But in Biden's case, I don't see that it is happening. So, no, this did not go well at all. Keep playing the next clip.
Republicans, Democrats, we saved democracy in 2020, and now we must save it again in 2024.
Yeah, in 2024, when Kamala Harris is the nominee, when Kamala Harris didn't get a single vote ever, and she was literally imposed in this, well, really strange situations in which just hours after that tweet from Joe Biden that he was resigning to, not resigning, he was dropping out of the presidential race. He did not mention in that same letter that he was endorsing Kamala Harris, but it was in a tweet 1 hour or 2 hours later. Very suspicious, but again, democracy is not exactly the word that you want to say here. You keep saying that word, I don't think that it means what you think it means.
You know, we have 1,000 billionaires in America.
Well, it would be nice that they had 1,000 trillionaires in America. That would be a lot of money. Maybe the United States government is thinking of printing all that money. That will not go well.
He's promising a bloodbath if he loses, in his words.
That is another hoax. He was talking about, I remember that was Trump talking about bloodbath in your, metaphor. You know, metaphor, right? It's like this morning that Hillary Clinton was also giving her speech, and she said, okay, we need to bring Kamala Harris and Tim Walz into the White House. And I said, where do you think Kamala Harris has been all these 3.5 years? And someone replied, oh, you know, the VPs do not actually live at the White House. And I said, my God, it's like, you know that when you say that someone is dying of laughter, they are not actually dying, right? So it's a metaphor. You use it as a metaphor. Yes, Kamala Harris has been in the White House for the past 3.5 years, and all these speeches imply that she hasn't, like, oh, she has had no idea. But well, the bloodbath was about the car industry if it was not fixed soon. That's what Donald Trump was talking about when he said that word. But again, a metaphor taken out of context. You can look it for yourself. You can say, oh, Jesus, you are so biased towards Trump. You can just look for it yourself. Look for the bloodbath hoax. I already made a video about the verifying people. I just want you to have the actual, you know, videos and data and knowledge and information so you can have an informed decision. Again, I don't think voting for socialism is the best idea, and Kamala Harris has already given this capital gains taxes and a couple more things that are going to be a bit hard on the economy, but that's a topic for another video. Meanwhile, I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And remember that you can download my 100 body language tips in the description of this video. Much love and bliss.